said that because I was about to say something. I had to pause the TV because I was paying attention to it and I wasn't paying attention to it.
Oh, yeah, you were doing that. I think my decongestants just got me all effort up because I was forgetting names. That was like one of my worst ones, honestly, because I was like, I'm like in the middle of a sentence and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm about to ask him. And then I was like straggling on. I've had a rough week.
Yeah, well, I was watching the TV and like half-ass reading my
I
notes.
wondered why you did that. I was like, are we worried about DirecTV right now?
No.
You know how I am about free advertisement.
Yeah.
All right, let me get this shared. What's up, Facebook Live? Back at it again. Let's go.
And the Facebooky Live.
AD all day. NFL, not for long. There we are. Hey, we already have 2 viewers. What up? It's probably the same 2 people that watched last time. And my mom's not one of them.
It's probably my mom.
Yeah, hey, there's 3. All right.
Yeah.
It probably is. Dude, your mom, man, big thank you to your mom, my wife, Jen. Let's see. My mom.
I was going to say, you better say that.
I got a couple people. Angie. Man, those people, when this takes off and we have our own big ass building where they're working up front, they got jobs. Yeah, they can retire. They definitely have jobs for sure. I actually downloaded this, so let's see how this comes through. Hold on. What is up, East of the Bend listeners? This is your lead host, Greg Schaefer, here with my boy, Will Havanas. What's up, dude?
Hey.
Yeah, he's here. We promise. East of the Bend podcast is brought to you by Dempsey's Food and Spirits, 346 South High Street in Columbus, Ohio. Big thanks to Mark Dempsey for everything he does for supporting the show. Talked to him yesterday at the Game Watch party. His words, I think this is a really good thing. I'm like, okay, that's about as good as I can get from Mark. So
hey, I'll take that.
Yeah,
I'll take that
for sure. We're also brought to you in association with DJ Digital Input, Mr. Kent Price, 740-973-0817 for all your DJ needs, 80s, 90s, dance music, and more. Any event, call him up, have him out. I have a sign over there. I should have held it up and waved it around. So maybe I'll do it later in the show. This is going to be a very impromptu, just ad-lib show. We're going old school. We're going to do what a podcast is supposed to do. We've been having a lot of guests on, and we're pretty excited about, all these guests. Like, it definitely helps us build the show. Loud pop. Definitely helps us build the show, and it's good for us. But every now and then, you got to kind of go back to your roots and, do what made you good. We're actually, it's not going to be a major announcement, but we're pushing towards not even being East of the Bend podcast anymore with everything we're doing with North Catholic. We may be transitioning to be East of the Bend Productions. The podcast will still be around because I love it. Radio is kind of my first love as far as like broadcasting and things like that. As far as the broadcast game, if you will. Broadcast game, yo. You got game?
Nah, man, but I'm watching Josh Allen hurdle defenders.
I seen that. I'm just all over here in it, and I'm trying to drag you out of Josh Allen's pants.
Yeah, like Josh Allen diving for touchdowns, hurdling safeties, Drew Brees putting the spin move on people, scoring touchdowns, diving into the end zone. Dude, he dove into the end zone to win the game over the pile. They were like on the 1 yard line. He dove over the pile.
Yeah, but in his world, that's just falling down.
No, like literally, he looked better than most running backs did.
No, I seen the jump.
And then it was impressive. Yeah, he hit the top of
He's a big guy.
No, I'm talking about Drew Brees.
Oh, Drew Brees. I'm here watching Josh Allen. You just said Josh Allen.
And then I said, yeah, Drew Brees jumping to blah, blah, blah.
This is what we're talking about right here, the Rootsville podcast.
Yeah.
This is perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, where the hell was I? I don't even know. Also shout out to Jason and Nate, Those Leprechauns. Check out their stuff over there at Those Leprechauns on the Facebooky.
The Facebooky Live.
You can find us on the Facebook at East of the Bend, on Twitter. I can't say the tweeter anymore because Ashley said, did you mean to say that?
Nobody says that.
Nobody says that.
Oh, my God.
Did he mean to do that? I guess that was before when I said you can find Allison Hayes at Allie Hayes Sports on the Twitter, and Ashley's like, was that a mistake? No, I was being funny. It's funny. I'm funny, damn it.
And he's got dad jokes.
Yeah, I got dad jokes. That's right. Oh, find us on Twitter at East of the Bend. Find us on, let's see, where else are we? YouTube. We got a YouTube channel, which is actually doing pretty good. I checked the other day. We have more than 3 subscribers. We have 17.
Haha, I think I'm one of them.
The joke's on them. We're signing up
know,
for that
right?
shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we actually do have some pretty cool stuff out there. If I ever evolve in my smoker's rasp I got going, I got some kind of respiratory schmutz. Just stick with me. Yeah, if I ever evolve into a really good sideline reporter, people are going to look back on that YouTube channel and be like, man, look how far he came.
Yeah.
Like a little white belt.
Such a little cute sideline
Oh,
reporter.
look at him. He's adorable. Pet him on the nose.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. So I think that's about it. Find the shows on SoundCloud, iTunes, anywhere you can download a podcast. On iTunes, the freaking logo will not change for some reason. I need to get on Libsyn as like our primary provider. We're still on SoundCloud there. I think that's part of the issue, and I'm dumb, so that doesn't help. So if anybody has any tips on if your primary source is SoundCloud and you want to change your logo on iTunes, please hit us up. I'll give you the rest of that gift card. It was last check at like $9.32. So
It's at like 27 cents now.
shit, I knew that was going to happen. You just had to eat, didn't you?
Yeah.
That happens. But yeah, we got some pretty cool stuff out there, especially, if you're not a Newark Catholic fan, we got some really cool stuff going down there. Shout out to Allison Hayes for having me on the show last week. So super cool. Everybody knows that she's like, I don't know, it's weird to call somebody, like at this age at 31, one of my heroes, but I mean, it's somebody I really look up to. And so when I had her on the show, that was huge. And then I got to be on her show last week. I got
to ask you, how much money did you pay her to get on that show?
Actually, so it's really funny. So let me toot my horn and name drop and do all. I'm just going to brag. I'm going to straight up brag on this one. So basically, I asked her to go to lunch with us. And she's like, yeah, I'll meet you guys. And she was like, I always talk about this on the show about when I try to get a guest on. The way I know they're interested is if there's back and forth. And if I send out something and then I have to remind you or this or that, that's when I know like, it's probably ain't gonna work.
Like if they stand you up twice.
Yeah, like if they stand you up twice. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah.
So and if they stood you up twice, then you kind of know. But no, we were on the way up. She's telling me like what time. All right, she's like, let me know when you guys get into town, and we'll figure something out. I was like, cool. So I told her what time, and then we got caught in traffic, and we're literally texting back and forth about it, when a good time to go to eat. So, hey, I know you're interested. Very cool. So that was cool. And then we sat down for lunch. It was like 5-6 minutes in, and even Ashley agreed with this. Like, we're sitting there eating, and I'm not afraid to say it. I even asked Ashley, I was like, did you every now and then just look up and be like, hey, we're having lunch with Allison Hayes? It's not the coolest thing ever. She's like, yeah, actually, it took me like 10 minutes. Ashley was like, took me like 10 minutes to kind of be like, okay, we're just talking to somebody.
So were you just sitting there like staring at her and just like with a big smile on your face?
I know.
Silence.
No, there was an awkward silence. In fact, I brought up because she didn't want us to talk about Minnesota because she didn't really cover them. So I just threw it out there. I was like, hey, like the Minnesota thing, I don't really want to know about Minnesota. I know you don't cover them. I just want to know, is PJ Fleck the same guy? And she's like, actually, I've never met him, but I kind of wonder that too.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because they got beat yesterday.
I know. I'm starting to lose faith.
He's not rowing any boats.
Rowing
them to the bottom of the ocean.
Just like this show.
Yeah.
But, how did I get on the show? So then I slipped through 100, and she said, I need 100 more. And I need you also to leave me alone.
Yeah.
We were just talking, and she's like, well, how would you feel about being on, being my guest for the Armchair Quarterback segment? And I was like, heck yeah, that's cool. So then she asked me to send a picture, because for those that don't know, me and my wife got engaged in the grotto. And so I got like 3 questions on there. And that was a trip, by the way, being on that show, because if we have a video, anybody wants to see it, I don't mind forwarding it. My wife caught it. There's like a 25-second delay. So and you've seen it, didn't you?
Yeah. It's like 25, 30 seconds.
Yeah. So we're at commercial. I'm sitting there with her on set. So by the time I got on set, and I'm pretty good at public speaking, shocking. So I was sitting there, and like at this point, I'm kind of comfortable with her. We had her on the show for a freaking hour, which was amazing. And then, we got to eat with her. So I'm pretty comfortable at this point. But the problem was, we're still at commercial by the big speakers that are going out to the crowd. But then she's talking to me because everything's on a delay with TV. So that was kind of a trip. But, she just casually asked. There wasn't, like, money involved. Kind of like most of this show. There's no money involved.
Well, that you know of.
That I
Your
know of.
wife secretly went. They had to both go to the bathroom at the same time.
Right. That's true. And
she dropped a couple bills.
Look, he might leave you alone if you just ask him to do this.
Yeah.
Like, he may just leave you alone. So ultimately, what I was getting to with that is we have a new piece of equipment on the set here, a new set piece, if you will. Sorry, my bad. Set piece. Sorry.
Bro, that's all you. That's all you.
No, it's not. It's all over the TV at every freaking soccer game.
I never look. I play soccer. We never talk about it unless we're actually talking.
I
about
know,
a
but
set
I just
piece.
said it, so I was saying sorry because it's annoying. I'm sure it annoys you.
I didn't even think anything of it until you said something.
You know what the one is now with soccer is 1v2. Is that a thing? They'll go like this. It's 2v1, 1v3.
Yeah, that is a thing.
Does it annoy you though?
No,
Okay, I'm just checking because it seemed like the new fad this year.
nah, that's always been around.
Okay,
That's always been around.
It just seemed a little more this year.
Well,
whenever
it's
they had-
probably because you're watching it more. It's
Yeah.
like going into a jiu-jitsu academy and hearing Os.
yeah, nos.
No.
No, thank you. So, long story short, we have an autographed ball on the set from Allison Hayes. If you zoom in, you can halfway see it. So that's there. So and all that to get to that.
All right.
All right.
So we're on that same boat with PJ Fleck, right?
I don't know. There, for a while, and I still think it's true because it's year 2. When they fired the prior coach, that team was left with. I mean, there was no cupboards, but it's getting to the point now. You're losing to Maryland.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but I think Maryland is better than people realize.
I agree. I don't disagree with that. But I don't know. Year 3's got to be better.
So if Minnesota and Nebraska played,
Oh,
who wins?
I gotta say Minnesota.
I gotta say Minnesota too, but who knows?
Talk about being wrong. I mean, a lot of us were wrong on that. Jerry, one of our other co-hosts, he said, one of the questions he wanted us to ask when Allison was on, we didn't get to it, but was, does Scott Frost automatically make Nebraska the favorite in the West? And I think we got the answer.
Yeah, right.
Good night. They are so bad. And it'd be one thing if they were sticking competitive with teams, but they're not even beating the teams they're supposed to beat.
No. Well, and then people were talking about, how they have a true freshman quarterback and this, that, and the other. And my thought is you have a true freshman quarterback and all the other quarterbacks left your team.
Yep.
Because you went with a freshman quarterback. So what's that say about that team?
I don't know, man. I mean, that's a tough. I don't know. I'm in shock, honestly. I can't say how much I'm in shock about it because I can't overemphasize it. Just because when I seen his whole staff go, that was one of the biggest things for me. There's always somebody you don't like at any job. I've talked about that before, but it's like, man, when the whole staff goes, you've got to be able to beat BYU.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine what those fans are feeling. I mean, they were here.
Yeah, they were excited. They got a national championship winning coach.
0-3 since the first time since the 40s.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's disgusting. That's disgusting. So we get into some Irish talk here. I was up there last week for the Vanderbilt game. Another close win. I guess, we can complain all we want about Ball State, about Vanderbilt being close, but at least we're not Virginia Tech. Ooh.
They lost to a team that hasn't won a game.
0-3.
Yeah.
Got worked by Liberty and had a backup quarterback.
Yep.
And it wasn't anything because Josh Jackson went down. Or Justin Jackson, I forget. Something Jackson.
Jackson.
Yeah. Joe Befootslick something. Yeah.
Joe Jackson.
Yeah. Anyway, good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. Not knocking him, knocking myself for forgetting his name more than anything. Really good quarterback, but it had nothing to do with that. I mean, ODU, they just ran the ball at will. They threw the ball at will. 28 points in the fourth quarter.
Wow.
In that game. And it 49-35 was the final. And honestly, if ODU could have just played any kind of defense, it wouldn't have even been that close. So, at least that didn't happen. It was the Ball State win ugly, 24-16. Oh, yeah. Was the Vanderbilt win ugly? I want to say, so before yesterday, I would say I was really on this wagon of, I thought Vandy was probably going to win 8 games this year. They got beat by South Carolina yesterday, and it wasn't really all that close. Whew. I know. And now I'm like, our schedule's done us no favors yesterday. Ball State, just to put it in perspective, Ball State lost to Western Kentucky, so you can't even fall back on the MAC, MAC team. It was close, but they're probably going to win the MAC. Nah, not so much. But again, at least we're not Virginia Tech, I guess, is the bottom line. Had a nice day yesterday. Ian Book got the start over Wimbush. I'm so glad you're here for one of the questions I have about this quarterback change. I'll get to in a few minutes. 56-27 was the final yesterday. Book went 25 of 34. He was responsible for 5 touchdowns, 2 passing, 3 rushing, and had 325 yards, no interceptions. Completed balls to 10 different receivers. I don't know when the last time that happened. So that, great day. I'm still not all in on Book. Me and Allison were both pro Wimbush to start the season because Wimbush can just do some things that Book can't as far as the run game goes.
One thing that Book can do that Wimbush can't?
Throw.
Put 56 points up on the board.
And that's exactly right. On one hand, I want to say, well, it's just Wake Forest. And it's true. It is. It's just
It was just Vandy.
Yeah.
It was just Ball State.
It was just Ball State. And, it looks like he's definitely going to remain the starter. In fact, I put up on the page yesterday, I stole the little picture that said Coach Kelly names Ian Book the starter for Wake Forest. I put underneath of it, Ian Book names Ian Book the starter for Stanford with his statistics at the bottom. Because he definitely got the right to start against Stanford next week. But one of the things, and this is what I wanted to ask you before we go into the game a little bit, is one of the big consensuses of fans, outsiders, whatever, with Wimbush, it's because he can't pass all that well and he can run well. Oh, just move him to running back.
No.
I
hate that.
Like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Just move him to running back. How hard that is to change positions like that. We're dealing with that with the high school team we cover, North Catholic, and these are high school kids that play both ways and everything. Starter goes down, a wide receiver has to be shifted in. I mean, in the first half, he didn't look right back there, honestly.
Yeah, he had a couple plays where it was just kind of like, oh, you could tell he was nervous or whatever. But to take a quarterback and move him to another position, the kid has to be just straight up more athletic than anybody. You look at like Braxton Miller, he couldn't play quarterback anymore. He moved to wide receiver, and he did good. He did good enough to get a third-round draft out of it, but then he got cut in his third year. So to take somebody who is a quarterback or any position in that, once you get to college, it's kind of hard unless, the defense is easier. But, man.
And another thing about that is, like, a lot of those scrambles that you see in this and that are created because it's a pass play.
Yeah, and that's what I think a lot of people don't think, or what people don't realize, or what they don't see is they're like, oh, you should move him to here, blah, blah, blah. But then it's like, okay, well, when you drop back, a 5-yard drop, and your receivers go deep, and you get an outside rush, and there's a hole, and you step up through the hole, and then you run and you take off, and the next closest player to you is 15 yards down the field, getting 7 yards is not that hard.
No.
And then being a quarterback who is fast and can run and has to beat one linebacker who's not as fast as he is.
In space. The space is created.
In space. Yeah. Both guys moving at a high rate of speed at that point. And then he beats him. Okay, so now that 7-yard play becomes a 20-yard play. And people see that and they're like, oh, they should be move him to running back. Come on, shut up.
Yeah,
shut up.
You look at any of the comments, it's all over the place. You can at least find 1 to 5 people in any comment section. We'll just move it. I love that.
Yeah, just move him there. Well, if he was that good, they would have put him there.
Exactly. Like, you can say what you want to about Kelly. You can say what you want to about any coach. They know the team better than we do. Like,
yeah,
the armchair quarterbacks or armchair coaches. Do coaches make dumb calls? Yeah. Do you make dumb decisions at your job? Yeah. We all do. Like,
if you're an analyst and you're not doing, as good as you should be, let's just move you to be a coordinator or something else. Like, you're a manager and you're managing people, and there's somebody who's better than you, so they take your spot. Well, we'll just move you to another position that you don't know how to
There's
do.
a reason Tebow never made the switch, because people were like, just move him to tight end. Just move him to tight end.
Just.
I love that. So I'm glad I had you on here for that. I mean, you're a longtime athlete. You didn't play football in school, but obviously man, you know the game as well as I do, and I always appreciate your insight. That's one of the reasons you're 50% of this show. So I appreciate that. But back to yesterday, and after I get in gog-on over Will and how great he is here. But back to yesterday and the Vanderbilt experience last week. I'll talk about that first. The stadium was a little dead, in my opinion. It is louder than it used to be. I think they were spoiled by having week 1, Michigan, all that great hype, the Irish wear green, the whole bit. Then the next week's Ball State, where they're trying to give those tickets away. And then the next week's Vandy, which to me, I thought Vandy was a nice matchup. I think that Kalijah Lipscomb, despite Vandy could lose the rest of the games all year, Kalijah Lipscomb's playing in the NFL. That's a good wide receiver. And obviously that's their main guy. I mean, I think they targeted him like 18 times in that game or something like that. But I think our fans were just spoiled by the electric atmosphere of week 1, 8 o'clock game, and then you have sleepy Ball State at 3:30, and then a 2:30 start against Vandy, and it's just like, we should roll over them because we beat a good Michigan, and that was definitely not the case. One of the things I noticed in person, to take Wimbush's side a little bit in this, when I was there in person, because if you watch a game on TV, the camera usually just follows the ball, so it's really hard to get a perspective of the field and what other things are happening. Our receivers are not creating separation, and I think that's a big issue for any quarterback.
I don't disagree with that, but a good quarterback throws them open.
And that's actually my next point here is throwing to a spot. Mm-hmm. When we were in high school, me and Coach talked about this. Coach Aiello, we talked about this on Wednesday during our weekly call. In high school, it's changed a little now, but I'll say what I was told in high school. In high school, guys are open. In college, that gap closes, and they're really not so much open anymore. You have less time to get there. And then in the NFL, they're not open.
It's like, here's high school, the guy is open. Here's college, the guy is open. Here's the NFL, the guy is open.
Yeah, and if a guy's open, there's been some sort of breakdown in the NFL.
Yeah.
Some sort of massive breakdown. So if you go back and look, the two passes come to mind, and it's funny, they're both to Nick Wisher, and they're probably the same play if I go back and look at them. I haven't got a chance to rewatch the Wake game yet. But Ian, they're both Nick Wisher, tight end, and he's not open yet. He's actually not even out of his route, but the ball's in the air. And that's something Wimbush was not doing. And it's one of the things I think is making Book different is he's throwing to a spot.
Sometimes you see with quarterbacks who just aren't confident enough that they have to wait. That's like what you see with Tyrod Taylor and an Alex Smith. They're waiting for the receiver to get open, and then the receiver gets open, and then they throw the ball. Mm-hmm. As opposed to guys, like Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or Book, they know the guy is going to be here, and they're putting that ball there. They're going to give their guy a chance to make a play, and that's the biggest difference between quarterbacks, great quarterbacks and not great quarterbacks.
Yeah, Book also tacked on 43 yards rushing. I mean, he's in the positive. Now, take into account the fact too that rushing for quarterbacks, the way the stat is taken into account, is sack yardage is in there too. So when a quarterback gets 43 yards of positive offense rushing the ball, that's pretty good in my opinion. That's a good day. He's definitely not as he's not as shifty. He's not as fast. I don't like the Tommy Rees comparison. The only reason that comparison keeps coming up is just because they were so both lightly recruited. Book can sling it. Kelly looks like he can throw a relatively decent game plan out there for him. They utilized the tight end quite a bit yesterday. Let me look here. Mack had, looks like 6 receptions. So that was a nice day. I'll try to see any other receivers off the top of my head.
Watch this real quick. Watch this referee. Boom. Didn't even move his hand.
He just
caught that
Odell
ball.
Beckham that ball.
Yeah. I can't believe nobody's talking about that. He puts his hands up for a touchdown. The wide receiver flips him the ball, and in his right hand, it doesn't even move, and he just catches it.
Who's that wide receiver?
Cup or whatever. He was the rookie last year for the Rams.
That's okay.
So,
okay.
Sorry to...
No, you're good. Actually, it wasn't... it doesn't look like it was Wisher. I think that was Brock Wright was the touchdown pass. In any event... so it's just throwing to a spot. I just feel like it's really important with him. And you know what? Apparently Wimbush was lighting it up all summer. And then there was a couple practices leading up to Michigan where some of the writers were panicking online because he couldn't even complete a swing pass out of the backfield.
Yeah, but you know what? I heard this. I think I was watching on Saturday. I think I just had the TV on while I was going through some pictures that I had taken out Friday night and just looking at
Never
'em.
you taking pictures.
I know, man. I had to calm down. I took 1,000 pictures.
Is that how many you end up taking?
No, that was 2 weeks ago
Oh.
at the Newark Catholic, not the Watkins game, the game before that.
Oh, Academy.
Academy, yeah. I took.
Did you find your keys?
No. It was after that one. It was.
That'd have been
Maybe-
Watkins.
yeah,
it was
the
while I was
Watkins.
gone.
It was the Watkins.
Yeah, Watkins is when I was gone.
No, you were there because it rained.
That was Academy.
No, what was the game after? Anyways, it doesn't matter. So
No,
I was
it matters.
gone-
I was gone for Watkins, and it rained at Academy.
yeah, but there was another game.
Heights was the weekend.
Anyways, okay. So whatever. I don't even remember what I was gonna say. Oh, but I was listening to the TV was on and some not ESPN. I don't know who it was. They were talking. Yeah, those guys.
Them guys.
It was like game day or whatever, and they were talking. And it might have been Herb Streak or Desmond Howard, and they said something along the lines of like, you see guys in practice who light it up, but then when the game plays, they're just not there.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you see somebody Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and they're lighting up, but Saturday and Sunday they're not, then you have a backup.
Yep. No, that makes a lot of sense, actually. It does. The thing is like, hopefully Book is the guy, because I don't want to see a 2-quarterback system. I hate it.
I hate it, and Ohio State's going through it right now.
Really?
To an extent. Now, Haskins played the entire game for the TCU game, but Tate Martell is coming in every now and then. And a two quarterback system is just it's not good. You saw it work once, and that was with a quarterback who was the exception when Florida did it with Chris Leak and Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
That was the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
Don't sit here and say,
and
well,
they used that
here
in
it worked.
such a weird way.
Yeah.
It was almost like a wildcat.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, well, Tebow wasn't getting the ball at the 50.
No, he wasn't.
Red zone.
It was 10 yards and in.
Yeah,
5 yards and in.
it was. What do they call it? Some coaches call it blue zone, 10 yards and in.
Yeah, and it doesn't work. It very rarely does it work, and it's not going to work in this situation.
No, not at all. And I know that people, they're wondering about the mentality of Wimbush. Everything I'm hearing from post-game press conference, Kelly's very happy with his mentality on the sideline, and said he's a gamer and he's not worried about losing the kid. Even though I'm sure he's disappointed. I mean, he's got to feel like the loneliest guy in the world, because when we got up big, Jerkovic came in, the freshman. It wasn't Wimbush.
Yeah, but my thing is like, I hear that, like, oh, you don't want to lose the kid, but it's kind of, to me, like, if you pull somebody and you lose them because of that, then you should never have them.
No, that's a good point.
I mean, I don't want somebody, if I pull you out and because you're just not performing, you're not doing what you need to be doing, and then I can't come back to you because I lose you, then you just weren't what I thought you were.
Exactly.
And I can't ever rely on you.
Yep.
I've been dealing with an issue the last 24 hours where it's like, competition, man. You come out and you do something, and other people see the competition's there, and competition either makes you better or it swallows you up, and then you just sit around and bitch about it.
Yep.
And you say, well, can you not be as good as you are?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you don't want a guy that's going to sit back and hope the other guy fails.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So, I think Wimbush, he does have a good mentality about him. I don't think he is that kid. And you know what? It's not a bad problem to have if let's say Book gets dinged. I mean, the guy's only played very little. It was his second start. I mean, who's to say he's going to stay healthy all year? Because he can run the ball.
Or who's to say that he's going to keep doing what he's doing?
Exactly. And that's my thing. That's why I haven't jumped completely off the cliff saying, oh, Book, here we go, doing the whole Bookham dance everybody wants to do right now, is because prior to this, he's had 75 attempts, and he's 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Okay.
That's okay at best.
Yeah. I mean, he did throw a pick 6 against Miami last year. Yes, I know he won the game against LSU, and Wimbush kind of looked like crap down the stretch, but I don't know. I just have trouble jumping off the cliff with this. And it's like, okay, maybe Notre Dame was just due to blow out a bad team because these 3 weeks, I mean, I'm playing the other side of the card here because I just don't even know at this point. This week's going to tell a lot because Stanford's the toughest game on our schedule. It probably would be the toughest game on most teams' schedule. But these 3 weeks were all about getting right. And who's to say we just didn't get right yesterday? Because
college football.
Yeah, because college football. I've said it before on this show when Iowa blew out Ohio State last year and never scored that amount of points again.
Yeah,
because college football.
Yeah,
shit happens. So, it was a really good collective effort yesterday. The running game, Jafar Armstrong led us 8 carries, 98 yards. That's okay. That's a good day.
Yeah,
2 touchdowns.
I like watching him run.
Yeah,
you watch football and there just sometimes you see a guy and you're like, man, he just looks like what a football player should look like, and he has that look. And when he breaks through and he's running to the second level and the third level, there's just something about him where you're just like, man, I think I see this guy running on something.
Well, he's a converted wide receiver. So
it sure doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
It looks like a converted tight end who just wasn't tall enough.
So, this week, though, speaking of the running game, we're supposed to be getting Dexter Williams back, who is absolutely electric. I heard he's just balling out in practice. This whole 4-game suspension thing is finally over. He's not suspended. He's practicing. He's dressing. He's just not playing. Finally over. Kelly had like the greatest statement ever today. I posted it on the page. I see if it'll load here. Dexter has been doing well. If he continues to have the type of week he's had the last few weeks, I expect he'll be able to do something for us this week. I'm like, coach speak at its most comedic level.
Yeah, right.
Like, good Lord. What I took out of that is, yes, he's been suspended. He's practicing well. And due to that we have no game breaker at running back, he's going to play a lot. That's what I got out of that.
That's like, hey, coach, what do you think about your matchup? Oh, they're really good kids. They're going to be good. They're really good at this. Okay, now tell me what you really think. Camera's not running.
Yeah, that's my favorite part. I talked about this off camera. That's my favorite part about calling Aiello on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's funny to hear these coaches, and I'm locked up tight. You'll never get it out of me. That's my job as a media, but
that's why I couldn't be a coach.
Yeah,
I'd just be like, what do I think about them? They're 0-5. They're garbage. We're on to the next week.
You mean the Will Havana's post-game show would be interesting?
It would be, man, there'd be a ton of listeners because I don't know what I would say.
He'd be like, who are we playing this? I ain't even coming. I ain't even coming to the game.
Like, man, I'm going to let my assistant coaches see. You know what? We're starting out with the second string.
Well, you know what? I might even get on that wagon. I run this show. Coach Aiello is going to coach speak the hell out of it. Our other podcast, Ryan Aiello post-game show. When Heath comes up, Heath played a game against Licking Valley and was down like 38-0 at halftime and had to play the second half of the running clock. It's the high school football equivalent of the mercy rule. I'm going to be saying, no, you guys they're winning that game.
Yeah.
No, we're not playing that. So, getting Dexter back this week I think is a big deal. Just kind of back to the wide receivers not creating any kind of separation. We have these big-bodied wide receivers. Claypool and Miles Boykin both listed at 6'4". They're at 230. They're fast, but they're not quick, and that's part of the issue. When you're A and you're B, you don't have a yin and yang to it. I thought they were going to be able to create matchup nightmares. They're not. They're long-striding guys.
So you know how you win that battle? You got to teach these guys how to run real routes.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, they have to run a crisp route. And if they're not getting it done, you just look at them and you say, hey, we're Notre Dame. If you're not going to do this, I got 5 other recruits over here who are going to do it.
That's something I argued on another post the other day, is it might be time to just try Michael Young and Kevin Austin out, a freshman and sophomore. Yeah. It might just be that time. One of the guys our slot right wide receiver, Chris Fink, I am a little disappointed in him because he is that quick, fast guy. If these guys can run people off and create physical matchup nightmares, I'm a little disappointed in him for not getting open more.
Yeah.
He's an Ohio guy. He actually went to Bishop Alder down in Dayton. He's a former walk-on. He played on the same team at Alder as Malik Zaire and Nick Coleman. So, hope he does well. He's had a nice year. He's the guy. He's the one that mossed the touchdown against Michigan.
Yeah,
that's Fink.
Yeah.
So.
See, and my thing is when you talk about wide receivers and you know that you can't beat somebody on a thing. You're just not quicker than them, okay? So in my head, it's two parts. You have to, one, the coaches have to realize that and have to call better routes, better plays. And two, as a player, you have to say, hey, they're just better than me at this. So how do I beat them? What is it that I can do better than them? Well, if you're 6'4", 230 pounds and you're just not quick, and you're going against a DB who's 5'8", 5'9", okay, just tell your quarterback throw the ball a little bit higher.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, and that's kind of the thing with Wimbush. He'd throw these like kind of your fade routes on the sideline. He wasn't throwing them to like the coaches always at least told our quarterbacks, throw it to where your guy's the only one that can catch it.
Yeah.
He's getting them. The ball's on the inside shoulder, and they weren't getting picked. Really, they weren't even threatened to be picked. But it was like, no, you can get that on the outside shoulder.
Yeah.
To where he can jump up and get it.
And I'm going to put that on the wide receiver. If he's throwing those fade routes and that wide receiver isn't catching it, he should be looking at him, and he should be pointing his finger up in the air like, come on, just throw it up. Let me go. Look at this guy.
Yeah. And being a competitor.
Yeah.
I can beat this guy. Or coming back to the huddle saying, this is what I need because I'm about to beat this guy.
Or just yell it. I do this on the field all the time with soccer and with football.
Shocked.
Yeah, I know, right? All the time. You just yell it across the field so the person in the 85th row can hear you. Where you say, I will beat this guy. Throw the ball up. He can't beat me.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. So we'll see going forward. It's going to be interesting. This week, Book's going 0 to 100 real quick because, we went from Wake Forest. They were pumped. One of the things about the game yesterday is like, it was the first time all year we hadn't scored on the first drive. The first two drives looked a little shaky, and of course, we did run away with it, so that's great. But, man, we're going from 2-2 Wake Forest, who's a team that struggled with Tulane, to 4-0 Stanford, who is a complete team on both sides of the ball. Yeah. But at least you know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Mark Hassan made Hissam. I found out it's not Hassan, it's Hissam. After 2 years of knowing the guy, it's Hissam. Oops, my bad, brother. One of the things Mark did bring up, though, hey, look at you, Bears. Idiots.
I think Trubisky is like 11 for 20 for 35 yards.
It doesn't shock me at all. He's probably like 11 for 35 for like 11 yards.
Hey, that very well could be.
I don't like Nagy's offense.
Negative
I hate
11
it.
yards.
I hate it. But Mark brought up a point about Stanford where it's like, at least you know what you're going to get.
Yep.
Big, physical. They're going to line up. They'll set up too tight with two in the backfield, and they'll flex a freaking third tight end in front to block. Bryce Love's good. He's not very electric out of the backfield. I mean, he doesn't really catch much. I know they're trying to get him the ball more, but he's not a game breaker. A lot of his yards come from the fact that he's got some hosses up front.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and they're going to have a tight end who's like 7 feet tall.
Well, shit, Arcega Whiteside, the former basketball recruit as well.
I'm telling you what, that's what they do. They just go get guys.
Did you watch the game last night against Oregon?
I watched some of it. Look, I like Oregon, and every time I turn the game on, Stanford scored.
So you played that role.
Yeah,
huh?
No, they were up 24 to.
Wasn't it 3 or something?
It was 24-7, and I turned it on right with the controversial call of the guy kicking the pylon for Oregon to go in to score the touchdown. What do? They say he was down at the 1 yard line. Okay, that's the rule. And then the bad snap, the Stanford guy picks it up and runs it back for a scoop 6. So it went from being 31-7 to 24-14. Okay, well then Stanford comes down and they score again. And I'm like, you know what? I'm turning this off. And I turn it off, and I look, and it was like 3 minutes ago. I check my phone, and they're up again, 31-21 or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I'll watch the last 3 minutes of the game. And what happens? They lose.
Yeah, on a fumble that if the guy just falls down, the game's over. Yeah. And why are you running the ball right there? They had one timeout.
I know, right?
Just down it. It reminded me of
new head coach.
Yeah, and I've told you before, I don't have any faith in Cristobal at all.
I didn't either. I think he learned a very valuable lesson last night. I didn't have a whole lot of faith in him either, and then he came out and he started doing his thing. Now, granted, he's got a quarterback who's a Heisman candidate. Mm-hmm. Dude was 27-30 for 345 yards, like 4 touchdowns.
Here, yeah.
I mean, and it wasn't like he was doing those little jet sweeps that
26, 33, 346.
Yeah, it's not like he was like Geno Smith in it.
Yeah.
throwing a 1 yard pass to Tavon Austin, who then beats everybody.
Sure.
Like, he was actually making some legit throws.
That's the argument for having a whole third stat line: rushing, receiving, and then something else to not even give the quarterback credit. Like, honestly.
Yeah, and it's another one of those things, too. Like, I always hate it when the quarterback throws it. It hits the guy's hands, and then it tips off of his hands because he just sucks and can't catch a pass.
Yeah.
And then it gets picked, and they're like, oh, that's an interception. And it's like,
yeah.
No, it's
not. It would have never got there had
the dude just caught the ball.
Yeah.
Like, you had one job, catch a ball.
You had one job. Now, this Arcega-Whiteside scares me to death because I've seen him do it. I've seen it firsthand. Him and that Kobe Parkinson, the huge 6'90" tight end, and Arcega-Whiteside's like 6'3", 6'4", big body, and they just get in the end zone. Costello throws it up, and it's Shaq boxing you out.
Yep.
They get on these corners. Julian Love, I think he's listed at 6 foot. Our other corner is Troy Pride. You know, I think he's around 6 foot as well. And then you just have these big body dudes. And I've seen Julian Love in person when I was up in South Bend last week. He's not huge, guys. He's not a huge guy. So that's going to be a real interesting battle, how that happens. I do like the fact that they're coming off of this emotional win. That's fine, whatever. And whoever Stanford's scheduler is an idiot. At Oregon and at Notre Dame back-to-back weeks. But you're Stanford.
Yeah.
So, you know, despite the recent success, you're still Stanford.
They have more national championships and everything than everybody else or something. I don't know. Something they always say that stuff.
Swimming and fencing don't count. Sorry. But I've heard that atmosphere at that stadium in Palo Alto is embarrassing.
Really?
I heard they can't even, so when they moved out of their original stadium, they actually downsized significantly, and they can't even fill this new one up.
Wow.
Yeah. There's more things to do. What's the excuse they make in Miami for everything? There's just so much to do.
Yeah, something like that.
There's so much to do down here.
Yeah, just whatever.
So it's going to be a tough game next week. I love the fact we're getting Dexter back. Love the fact that it's a home game. Hopefully we can bring that same energy. I love the fact that they don't have a whole lot of a whole lot of tape on book. So that's nice. You know, hopefully we can create some matchup problems. You know, Oregon did look fast. They looked fast, and they looked like they were outspeeding Stanford. So if we can use some of our speed with Dexter, with our wide receivers, if they can find some speed next week. And then our defense has been stout all year long. So, I mean, that shouldn't be a problem.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I was watching that Stanford-Oregon game last night, and what hurt Oregon at the end was their DBs just weren't playing good.
Mm-hmm.
And you watch Notre Dame's DBs, and they play their roles, they do what they're supposed to do, and then they do go out there and make plays.
Well, and we have a really good defensive line. We probably have one of the deepest defensive lines in the country. Somebody made the comment yesterday on ESPN. They said, well, Kelly's about to make the line change. I mean, we can rotate up to 10 guys on our defensive line with not much drop off, and that's a big key. And Oregon, I didn't feel like had a thumper at linebacker.
No, they don't. They don't seem to have. They seem to be a lot of speed still on defense, and just nobody up front that just goes out and does the dirty work.
Yeah, I mean, even some of that one middle linebacker with the hair. I mean, that dude, that doesn't look like a AJ Hawk to me.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like a Tavon Coney or a Manti Te'o. It looks like a receiver.
They're a bunch of like 6'1", 220 guys.
Yeah,
that new hybrid linebacker.
Yeah, exactly. There's no Drew Tranquil on that side. So I'll get my prediction out later this week. I'll also do the opponent rankings again. It's something I do on the side. You have to get used to it. I want to throw it out there, create some conversation about it. By the way, thank you all of our opponents for making our strength of schedule absolute shit.
Whoop! Look at this. Look at that.
Look at that old man go. See, there's still hope.
He hit the B button, spun on him, like whoop. See you guys, and then dove.
See, there's still hope.
Yeah,
that's why we need to go to a combine yesterday.
Yeah, and he's on his last year of his contract.
Yeah, what do you think they're going to do with him?
They got Teddy Bridgewater. I think they're going to let Drew Brees go because I think they're going to say it's too much money.
That makes sense for a guy that age.
For a guy that age, as great as he still is.
But it could fall off at any time.
Yep.
Any time.
Yep.
He could come out and be, nobody's Nathan Peterman. Oh, there's only one Nathan Peterman. 5 picks.
Dude, that guy is garbage. See, look. Drew Brees over the top.
Okay, I got you.
Nathan Peterman is bad.
Hey, Greg, how about that Falcons Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Good Lord, giving up 43 points.
Yeah.
Well, Drunky's their offensive coordinator. And I don't think he's doing Matt Ryan any favors, even though, look, Matty Ice went off.
He did.
374 and 5 TDs.
Yeah.
That's a nice day.
It's always nice to see Michael Thomas on top of that list, considering he's from Ohio State and Julio Jones from Alabama is now second. So you know what that means? It means Ohio State's better than Alabama.
Is that what that means?
That's exactly what that
Man, I didn't think we'd get there. We'll skip our second section here, and we'll just get right to it. Can anybody beat Bama? Dude, they look scary this year.
Do they, though? I mean, who have they played? Like, I see they're like, oh,
So here's my thing.
Bama's the only team to put up 50 points in 3 straight games, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And then you look at who they're playing, and I'm like, are these even real colleges?
What they beat as Texas A&M yesterday.
Okay.
Here's my thing. So
that was game 4.
Hear me out, though. This is the first time I've seen him with this kind of offense. And this kind of, I mean, that kid's back there pissing efficiency.
Yeah, but you know what? I was watching him in the second game or first game. I can't remember which one it was. And he was making some plays. But it was like, he was just like, oh, I see a guy. I'm about to get sacked. I'm just going to throw up a pass. And the DB just doesn't look like he knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And he runs away from the ball. And it's like that easily should have been a pick.
I'm going to look up their schedule here because I know they have – like Louisville's awful. Like I know that was supposed to be some big game, and they thought it was I'm blanking right now. Lamar Jackson, Louisville, they got something rolling. Louisville's awful. So let's get over that.
Bad.
A&M – it's hard telling. It's going to take, despite what we feel about Jimbo, and he's going to win there. Honestly.
Oh, he will eventually.
But it's not this year. And they had a close game with Clemson. I don't think that game was as close as we thought. Ole Miss, they're still hurting from some kind of, I don't know, some fractions with Hugh Freeze. Everybody kind of departed from there. There's a whole reason why Shea Patterson left and went to Michigan.
Yeah, Ole Miss is bad. They got beat again. Bad this past week. I'm sorry, Alabama, yes, they are still Alabama and they're still good, but it's like, come on, man, you haven't. It would be like if Ohio State kept playing and didn't play TCU and kept playing who they were playing.
I'll give them credit for A&M, but Louisville, Arkansas State, this week they got UL Lafayette. Arkansas, my God, they took it on the chin from North Texas.
But at this point, they shouldn't have fired Bielema.
No, not at all. Then they got Missouri, who has a nice quarterback, in Drew Lock.
But there's a lot of people questioning him, his desire.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, they were.
I know he's on
his potential. They think that he's already hit his
desire. Is he? No, okay, gotcha. Tennessee's on the schedule. Ooh, did you see what happened against Florida? And then you got LSU, and that's at Death Valley. I think that's going to be interesting.
That's going to be their game. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the game. You'll see that, and then we'll know what Alabama really is.
And then they play Mississippi State, and they got beat yesterday. While we're on that real quick, I love Benny Snell. I've watched more Kentucky football than I care to admit. That kid's from Westerville and leads all-time rushing at Kentucky. He is so fun to watch. If you have the opportunity to watch Benny Snell while he's still there, this kid is good. I'm really happy for him. They beat Mississippi State yesterday, 28-7. I know a lot of people like that Fitzgerald kid at quarterback for like a dark horse Heisman, but I don't know. I'm not all that impressed by him. Plus, he's coming off of an injury where he basically flamingoed his leg from last year.
Yeah.
So, and then Bama's got the Sentinel. Thank you for that. And then Auburn, of course.
So, I mean, to me, you look at the SEC. You got Bama, Alabama. Alabama.
Bama and Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Auburn. And that's about it.
Yeah, they don't play Georgia. For that matter, I mean, Kentucky's undefeated. They don't play Kentucky.
Yeah, but, I mean, we'd have to look at Kentucky's schedule to see how good they really are.
I'm just chucking out there the teams they don't play. They do play Tennessee. I'm shocked they don't play Vandy this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I don't want to take a whole lot away from Alabama because they're still Alabama.
Right.
But I'm also kind of like, hold on.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Let's really analyze and take a look at this.
My thing is, like I said, it's just the first time I've seen him have this kind of offense, and they just look like I've never really seen him. I've seen him line up with like the Lacey's
Yeah, but I thought when Jalen Hurts was a freshman, he was doing this.
Not to this level. He was never an efficient passer.
Or when like AJ McCarron was there.
The one thing that
Jones.
the one thing Hurts could do well is he could take care of the ball. He didn't turn the ball over because I think last year at one point he was like 16 touchdowns to 1 interception.
Yeah, but that's not what he did when they played Ohio State.
Oh, I had to get that in there.
Yeah.
But last year, I mean, he's relatively he doesn't turn the ball over, takes care of the ball. You know, he's not throwing the ball downfield like this kid does.
Yeah.
Even McCarron didn't do that. Greg McElroy didn't do that.
Yeah.
And they had the weapons. I don't even know what kind of weapons Alabama has. Like, we knew about Alvin Ridley. We knew about Julio Jones. Who else is escaping me from Bama? Wide receiver, Amari Cooper. We knew about those guys.
Yeah.
But no name from Alabama as far as a wide receiver sticks out to me. Jerry Jeudy is their leading wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, him too.
Yep.
Probably works.
2 first names.
Yep, 2 first names. Can't trust them.
Yeah, you can't.
Nope. So we're going to get into some schools trending up, schools trending down, and talk about what we talked about, schools trending up and trending down, and how wrong we've been so far. Hey, Bears, look at you, just recovered a fumble. Man, his white unis are clean, and Khalil Mack is a monster.
His brother plays at Buffalo again.
Is that right?
The University of Buffalo. Where's the same number? I don't know if he's any good. I just heard that the other day.
Yeah, the Bears.
Because John Gruden was saying, you can't find a pass rusher. You know how hard it is to find a pass rusher? You know, blah, blah, pass rusher this. We don't have any. Yes, we know we need them. You know, we wish we would have had one, blah, blah,
I
blah.
wonder if he knows how dumb that sounded.
I know. I'm like, dude, seriously? You just traded Khalil Mack, who's probably the best, if one of the top 5, if not the best pass rusher in the NFL.
I'll be honest with you, though. The package that the cat lady and everybody else put together, I wouldn't be so sure that all the teams wouldn't have took that trade, though.
Yeah, but why would you even put that out there?
It's still a stupid-ass statement. You don't say that.
No, I mean, but why would you try? Like, that would be like saying Tom Brady in his prime, we're going to trade him instead of paying him.
You mean why even make him available?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Well, and then my point was, why even say? I mean, he has to know he said it.
I know.
There's no coming back from that.
John Gruden's crazy.
No, and hey, they're stuck with him because all that money guaranteed. So good luck with that.
Yeah, they fired him once. They're not going to fire him again.
Yeah, good luck with Vegas Raiders. Yeah, that's happening. That's gross. That'll last a minute.
I don't know. From what I heard, they're building the downtown around, or they're building around the stadium, and it just looks beautiful.
Really?
Yeah.
But people don't live in Vegas.
Yeah, well, I mean, people do live in Vegas.
Oh, okay, yes.
But
there's always somebody that lives somewhere.
But you got to remember, man, there's casinos there, so those stadiums are going to sell out. That stadium is going to sell out.
That's a good point. Kind of like the what is it? The Knights in hockey. Yeah, I mean that stadium was sold out every night.
Yeah,
people go to Vegas. You know, some people don't like shows. I know have you ever been to Vegas?
No, I was supposed to go once, and then 4 dumbasses decided to fly a plane into a building.
Oh yeah, there's that. That'll do it.
Yeah.
So now you threw me all off. I'm like, what? So at first I was like, you got some friends that flew a plane into a building? What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I've never been either, but if I went, I wouldn't be much of a show guy. Yeah. I'm not going to go to a ton of shows or whatnot. So if there's teams in town, I would be more apt to jump on something like that. And I'm sure there's plenty of us out there.
Yeah,
that are like that.
Not to mention, they're going to put together packages. Oh, come stay at our casino and get 2 free tickets to the
plus $200 in playing money or something. Yeah, I get that. So where we were right, where we were wrong, man, we are wrong a lot. So I had Purdue as trending up. Ugh. That was a mistake. They've been beat by Eastern Michigan, but then they beat number 24 Boston College, who was undefeated yesterday.
Yep.
Doesn't make any sense. That's college football. You don't know what you're going to get from 17 to 23-year-old kids. Like, I'm taking that as an extreme. Sometimes you have 6-year guys, and then sometimes you have early enrollees that are 17.
Yeah.
But, man, sometimes you just have no idea what you're going to get. I had Michigan State trending up. I still think they can probably get 10 wins in a real Michigan State way. You know what I mean? Sure. Go like 9-3.
Yeah.
Beat all the teams they're supposed to beat. But it shocked me that Arizona State beat them. Because I thought Herm Edwards was flame out there.
But you got an asterisk to that game. It was 104 degrees.
Oh, Jesus. You know both teams played in it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's still an asterisk there?
I mean, well, I'm just saying, like, I'm not a fan of Michigan State. I think they're always overrated.
Yeah.
But, some of these things you got to take into account.
Yeah, that's true. Just like, I always say that Notre Dame should put our bye week during exams because the last 30 years, they play like garbage during exam week. I mean, just either play Southampton Institute of Technology or play.
I mean, Bama does it.
Yeah, or play nobody.
Yeah.
So, oh man, how I couldn't have been more wrong on UCLA.
Yeah.
Holy crap!
I think everybody in the nation was wrong on that.
I mean, I thought it was the perfect combination. They're lucky. I think they got beat by yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, Fresno State 38-14, Oklahoma 49-21, which fine. Okay, Oklahoma, perfect. Cincinnati 26-17. That is not a good Cincinnati team either.
Yeah.
That's Luke Fickell's Cincinnati team. And so I like him as a coordinator. I think he's a crappy head coach.
I think he's horrible. I had to live through him for 1 year. He was
Oh
horrible.
my God.
He looked scared. He looked so
let
scared.
me lay down. I had to live through him for 1 year. I had to live through Charlie Weiss.
I mean,
I had to live through Ty Willingham.
I think Charlie Weiss is still getting paid.
Nah, I finally stopped. Thank God. I had Virginia Tech on this list. Oops.
They were.
I mean, they were, but I had them under number 2 ranked opponent in my Irish opponent power rankings this past week. But man, I even put in there the caveat of, okay, you blew out Florida State, who's awful.
Garbage.
And then you beat William and Mary, and your next game got canceled. What do we know about you?
Yeah.
So, and if you look at that game, honestly, Florida State played pretty well on defense. It was 17-3 all game long. And the 7 of those points were a block punt. So, I mean, if you think about it, so the defense gives up 10 points. You should win a game if you only give up 10 points going into the fourth, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Iowa State's another one. You remember when Matt Campbell was going to coach Ohio State?
Yeah.
Oh, man. They're sitting at 1-2 right now. Yeah, I bet he wished those questions were still coming.
Yeah, I know.
Remember how he was shutting it down and everybody praised him about how well he shut it down?
Yep.
Yeah, I bet he wished those questions were still coming. I had NC State trending down. They were actually sitting at 3-0, but again, it's that time of year where it's like, who have you played?
Yeah, when you get to like week 6, week 7, then you really know what you got.
James Madison, Georgia State, and Marshall. There's still opportunity, NC State.
You could take all 3 of those teams, take the best players at each position,
Create an all-star team out of all of them.
and they're still going to be like the 3rd or like the 5th best team in any Power 5 conference.
They're like the 5th best team in the Sun Belt.
Yeah.
Here's where I really screwed up. Outside of one of them, I had both Oklahomas as trending down. But hey, Oklahoma, Army.
Yeah.
And what college football games are on pay-per-view now?
What?
Yeah,
well, I don't know. Didn't they have that that package?
I went to their website and it was like ABC, ESPN, ABC, whatever, and it's pay-per-view for the Army Oklahoma game. I bet that got all the money.
Yeah.
And a couple gift cards. But Oklahoma State got worked by Texas Tech. Oklahoma State only put up 17 points on Texas Tech.
Mm.
Then Oregon, we had them trending down. I don't know what to make of Oregon right now. They looked really good, in my opinion. I thought they looked better than I had anticipated, and then it all just fell apart.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where they go from here. I think the Pac-12 is wide open, though, so it's out there for them.
Yeah, I think it is, but I think outside, it's going to be Stanford in the Pac-10 or Pac-12.
Yep, Stanford and Washington.
But what are you going to get from them?
And they play in the same side, so they're going to have to play each other and beat each other out. And then Washington State's another one I had trending down. They were actually 3-0 until they just blew it. I mean, they were 30-14 against USC, and then I think they lost like 39-36 or something like that. So, you got an early Heisman favorite at all?
Don't call me a homer, but Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, he looks good. He looks real good. I say Tua just purely and simply because I know how this all works. If they go undefeated, everybody loves Bama.
Yeah.
All the writers and shit, they love him. If he keeps playing at this level and they go undefeated and they're going to the playoffs, remember the Heisman's given out at the end of the regular season. They'll probably shoot it to him. So I'd say if I'm a betting person, I would probably say he's the favorite.
I think your three guys that you see on the podium at the end are all quarterbacks,
Don't disagree.
and you have three different sizes. So you have Dwayne Haskins, who looks like a legit NFL quarterback.
Yeah, I was surprised because I don't watch much Buckeye football. I was shocked how big he is.
Dude, he's huge.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah. And then you have Tua Loa.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, that guy. Who, is the next size down. He's like medium size fry. And then you have, what's his name, Kyler Murray?
You think Murray? I'm thinking Will Greer.
Nah, man, it's gonna be Murray.
You don't think?
Like, look, you turn on College Game Day after games are played, and those are the three guys they're talking about.
But
they're not talking about Greer. Or
what if West
Herbert.
Virginia beats Oklahoma?
It doesn't matter. It'll still be talking about Kyler Murray.
They do love him some Kyler Murray, don't they?
They do.
And I'm not sure how much his heart's into it, honestly.
You know what? He's pretty much already said that he's playing baseball for the Astros.
Isn't this his last year?
Well, they told him that they signed him to a contract, and the contract states that he's allowed 1 year of college football. And he said he wanted to play 1 year of college football to win a national title.
That's fair.
And they're not going to do it. They're not going to win a national title.
No.
They lost their best running back, and you see what happens. They lose their best running back, and then the next game they play, they go into overtime against Army, who could have won that game. Guy just drops a pass.
Yep.
In the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a strong division, but they do have Texas coming up who, they're playing better.
Playing better, yes.
Yeah. TCU, they looked really good against Ohio State.
And then looked bad against Texas.
And then you got Kansas State, they look horrible. Bill Snyder needs to go.
He's like 99 years old.
He might be older than that. His first Christmas may have been the first Christmas.
His first Christmas was the year before the first Christmas.
Exactly. Texas Tech looked nice, but they're just going to be Texas Tech.
Yeah.
And then, Kansas is Kansas. So they got Oklahoma State.
Did they win a game yet?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, they won a game.
They've won 2 games.
Oh, that's like 2 games in like 35 years.
Yeah, that's great. I just had a reference there, and you know who I'm thinking? There's a local school I'm thinking about right now. We practiced with them.
Oh, yeah.
Oops.
Oh.
No, Kansas beat Rutgers 55-14 last week.
Oh, jeez. So, Chris Ash.
It's over.
Man, was he stupid to take that job? Everybody's talking about Ryan Day. I know you guys don't want to hear about the Buckeyes.
No, go ahead.
But everybody's talking about Ryan.
I'm all-encompassing.
Everybody's talking about Ryan Day and how, he performed in these 3 games as the head coach of the Buckeyes while Meyer was out. And how, he's the big name right now, that he's going to be able to coach anywhere he wants. And I heard the Torg say something on the radio the other day, on Friday, where he was saying, does he leave Ohio State? Or, does he say, I want to go to the right program.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to just go to a program. Does he say, you know what? I don't see a school right here that I really like, so I'm not going to take it. And you saw what he could do with the Buckeyes, a top 4 team in college football right now with some of the best talent out there.
Any job he takes can be a step back.
Big step back.
Yep. I tell you what, I underestimated how hard the Rutgers job must be. They lost to Buffalo yesterday, 42-13.
Oh.
Like, this is bad. When Shiano was there and they were building something, I was like, you know what? I think Rutgers, and at that time I was like, all right, they finally got to where they're going to be respectable every year.
Yeah.
At least respectable every year. 7-8 wins. Maybe they'll sneak a 10 in there. They're at least going to, hell, everybody makes a bowl game now.
Yeah.
They'll at least win 6. This is out of control. Ohio State 52-3, 55-14 Kansas, 42-13 against Buffalo. Indiana's up next week. Illinois will be interesting, but I don't know. They may go 1-11.
Yeah.
They beat Texas State.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Just bad.
Bad. But before we get out of here, last thing I want to bring up is something that reminds me of, unfortunately, this season for Notre Dame. It's all out there. All the stuff we're talking about, it all trends back to, for me anyway, it's all out there for Notre Dame. This schedule, it has a lot of name brands on it. Florida State, Michigan, USC. Stanford's no joke. Let's leave Stanford out. Virginia Tech's on there. Any other year you're looking at that, and even before this season started, you're like, damn.
If you just look at name-wise,
yeah,
that's an impressive schedule.
Northwestern's on there. Clayton Thorson.
I don't know if I'd bring them in.
Well, before the season, I'm talking about. Because I was a Clayton Thorson guy. I thought he was going to be one of the better quarterbacks in the Big Ten. Who else is on the schedule? Navy, with Navy's recent success. This might be the worst Navy team we've ever seen. They got beat, or not ever, but in recent memory. Because in the last 15 years, they've been pretty dang good.
They've been 9-3.
Yeah, 10-win seasons.
10 wins.
Keenan Reynolds kind of stuff. Yeah. But, man, they got beat by SMU yesterday. They got worked by Hawaii. They beat a 1AA school. Yeah, I still call it that. And then they barely slipped past a bad Middle Tennessee 21-20. So, but yeah, you look before the season, and what the point I'm getting to, this reminds me of 2012 in the worst kind of way, is in 2012 when we went undefeated, there's all these name brands. Oklahoma was on there, USC, Stanford, Michigan was on the schedule, Michigan State was on the schedule. We ran through all them guys, and then we get to the national championship, and then that happened. That's the thing I'm afraid of. Because it's out there for us. There is no reason. I guarantee we're going to be favored the rest of the way. Every game, even if we lose this week, we'll be favored. Point is, we're not getting into the playoff with a loss right now. It's not happening. Not with the way the schedule's played out and freaking Virginia Tech losing to an 0-3 ODU. That it's out. So we got to win out. But it's out there to win out. And if that does happen, I'm just afraid to get to the playoff and have another shit show of freaking 35-0 at halftime. That is a big concern for me right now.
If Book doesn't come out and perform like he did yesterday for the rest of the season, I would be afraid if I was a Notre Dame fan and they made the college football playoff.
Yeah, I mean, if he does what he did yesterday, then I'm pumped. I mean, what is it, 25 of 34?
And that's what I'm saying.
25 of 34 for over 300, no interceptions. I mean, he's accounted for 5 touchdowns. So, I don't know. If like you said, I'll get your cap for you.
Thanks. You could have left it.
Little help here. I know. Look at this room. I just kind of leave other things too. But we'll see, man. Big week next week. Stanford. It's going to be a heck of a game. Hopefully they green the place out, have the same kind of atmosphere. Also next week at 6 p.m. on the 30th of September, we got Andy Bitter coming on from Virginia Tech. He's going to come on and help us preview the game. He's a beat writer for Virginia Tech, and he also writes for The Athletic, the big company out there. He's doing very well. Check out their stuff. Pete Sampson, one of our guys, somebody I really look up to in journalism, he writes for The Athletic now. He's an awesome guy. Most Notre Dame fans know him. And then the Coach Ryan Allen post-game show will be next Sunday at 5, if you guys are following that. We're going to be covering 10 hours of coverage on Friday. I think it's 10. Pep rally for North Catholic Utica. It's their homecoming. And then we're going to be at the game, videography, photography. Some idiot sideline reporter will be out there. I'll be interviewing Coach at halftime, after the game, stuff like that. So check that out. Follow us at East of the Bend on Twitter, Facebook. We'll be on YouTube. And that's pretty much it. Until next time, go Irish.